that happened when I was 9 years old, and the book was The Valley of Adventure by the English children's writer Enid Blyton. And this was the book that took me from being the class goody-goody to being the naughty girl reading under my desk, and from being the dutiful daughter to being the disobedient child reading under the bedclothes long after lights out. And when I got to the end of the book, I was delighted to see that this was one of a series of 7 adventure books that Enid Blyton had written. So we went to the library every Saturday when I was growing up, my parents and my sister and me, and we all came home with our big armful of books. And I couldn't wait to get more of these adventure series. And I got there, and the library didn't have any others, and I was devastated. But fate was kind to me, because just a couple of weeks later, I was looking in the children's section of the Sunday paper. And in the children's classified ads, lo and behold, somebody was selling the entire series. We didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, and the modest asking price for these used books seemed like a fortune to me. And I was a little bit reluctant to raise it with my parents, but finally I got up the nerve and I mentioned it to my mother. And that was when I learned that in our family, books were in a special class of thing, like food and school uniforms, that you somehow found money for. So they bought me these books. And the day they arrived, I was so excited. They were beautiful hardbacks with wonderfully illustrated dust jackets, and they'd been covered in plastic very carefully and really well kept. And at that time it was the most exciting thing I had ever owned, and I lined them up in the dining room on the floor from first to last, and I started to feel really weird. I was flushed and my heart was beating faster, and I couldn't quite swallow. And I'd never had this feeling before, and it wasn't an unpleasant feeling exactly, but it was unfamiliar to me, and I didn't have a word for it. Well, I was 9 years old then, and it would be 5 years before I had that feeling again, in a very